Good evening, televiewers. You are welcome to this other edition of Prime on my Media Prime. We're glad to be live and we're going to be talking on issues touching on our lives. We know that everybody's mobilizing for next year's elections, 2025. This evening, we're going to be looking at it from the prism of the youth in Cameroon. Are they going to rise up to expectations as the war turns their regards towards Cameroon next year when they are going to be called to the polls to elect a new president? What are the stakes today? What can the youth do and bring to what is being prepared in Cameroon? We're going to be discussing this topic that is very current with our panelists who are with me in the studio. Reverend Mrs. Anyere is here not to talk relationship today, not to talk to preach, but to talk youth involvement in politics. Good evening. Glad to have you.
Good evening, Mr. Leo. Good evening, fellow panelists, and good evening, Cameroon. It is a singular pleasure to be here again today to talk about the youths and the fact that we'll see how far they are prepared for elections come 2025. So hopefully as the day go by, we'll unravel what we have.
We're also in the company of a youth president, the president of the Southwest Youth League. Kizito is with me in the studio. Good evening, Mr. President. Glad to have you.
Good evening, Mr. Leo. Good evening to Reverend. Good evening to all the televiewers, the fervent followers of my Media Prime. It's a pleasure to be here. It's a very sensitive and very timely topic which I think we shall shed more light on as the program unfolds. So once again, it's a pleasure for me to be here.
We are expecting Dr. Apostle Ambe to join us in the course of this program and other panelists, but let us kickstart with you, Reverend Anyere. When you look at the attitudes of the youth today, do you have hope in the political landscape of the nation? Are they passive? Are they interested? Do they give the impression that they are ready to take charge of things?
Thank you, Mr. Leo. We have to understand that the youths are the epicenter of every society and, of course, the majority. You know, they make up a significant portion of our society. And if I can say they are dormant, it means something is wrong. These youths are really ready, but they need a push and then a shove to get there. Talking about their attitude, some are passive because of the status quo. They are like, what do I have to offer? I'm done in school. I don't have a job. I have nothing to look up to. Some have PhD. There are a lot of youths today, even with PhD. They are littered everywhere. And they want to really bring promotion in terms of political, cultural, and every other innovation because of their dynamism, their charisma, but then they do not have the shove that they need. So it makes them to be passive, and they feel that they cannot have a say in the governance and other decision-making processes. And so with this, they feel low, and their esteem too is like kind of squashed. Now, if they had somebody or policy makers who could really push them that, okay, it is your time to shine. We should not just say it by lip service that youths are the leaders of tomorrow, but these policy makers push them to the brink. I think that they will take up leadership positions. But now, their self-esteem is not full to the brim because they feel that they have nothing to offer. And the policy makers and other dinosaurs, let me put it in quotes, dinosaurs feel that being a leader comes with age and wisdom. But I think that in the technical, in every sector, the youths are equipped to become leaders. But now, like I said, they need the shove so that they can also stand and contribute their own quota to the society. Therefore, if we actually put this into action, especially as policy makers, the youths will be able to also take the helm of power. Remember that in Africa now, based on the African Youth Charter, about 60% of African population is the youths below 25, and they say that youths are from 15 to 35, And if they are 15 to 35 and they make up 60% of our population, and most of them are unemployed, then it is a call for concern. Because if these youths are not employed, starting from there and grow from there, then along the way there will be a lot of problems for us in the nearest future.
Okay. Reverend, things that the youth needs a push. Do you really need to push the youth to take what is supposed to be theirs? Who should push them?
I don't think they need that push from anybody. I think they have to be the push themselves. You see, according to, if we were to go by the definition of politics by David Einstein, he says, politics is the authoritative allocation of values in the society. Now, if we were to go by that definition, you know, there are various ways or various definitions of politics. Later, Simon Achidachu said politics is Jange, you scratch my back, I scratch your back. Mao Zedong of China said politics is war without bloodshed. Now, if you bring all this definition of politics together and we put it in context, authoritative allocation of value, that word authoritative is pregnant with meaning. I would not want us to belabor ourselves by, breaking down the words in smaller parts. Now, if you look at the context, like Reverend said, in Africa, and Cameroon in particular, all the developing countries in Africa have what we call a progressive pyramid as far as the population structure is concerned, which is a broad base and a narrow top. What does that signify? That signifies or tells us that the majority of the population in Africa is composed, the demographic structure of the population in Africa is composed of the youths. Now, it is estimated that Cameroon is going close to 30 million. Now, out of that 30 million, whether I like it or not, 70% of that population, or between 60 to 70% of that population is made up of the youths. That simply means that if the youths are serious, they can get whatever they want. What does that mean? If we look at the way the youths of environments, let's take our various communities operate nowadays, it's so frustrating. And it baffles me at times when we even try to orientate or try to guide them towards the political path. The unfortunate issue is that by the time you start talking politics to them, they start telling you that you have been bought over. Whereas they have forgotten to understand that in the present context, and whether I like it or not, if you don't do politics, politics will do you. Now, if you don't vote somebody into office, you have no right to challenge or criticize that person because you did not take part in that political process. That what we are saying here is that the youths have that capacity. The youth have that urge. The youths have that number that if they are ready, Reverend said they just feel that the status quo will not change. I will not want to agree with that. I think that they are facing a problem of lack of political education, which is a serious problem we are facing, not just in Cameroon, but in Africa. I want to feel and believe that the recent incident in Senegal should spur up the youths in the other African countries to see and feel that things can actually change. Because when you talk to people, they tell you that after whether we vote, we don't vote, nothing will change. No. If we have that type of mentality, it means we shall die with it. We, the youths of this country, if we want to effect the change we are talking about, we have the numbers, we have the potentials, we have the ability. What else do we need? We just need to put ourselves together, constitute ourselves as a very organized group. Because one of the things we face in this country, as I said initially, whether we like it or not, I know some people may want to disagree, but the youths of Cameroon are not organized. They are not organized, which is the key. We claim to complain every day that the regime holds seat or tight to power. It is because we are not willing to even take that power from them. You see, even the Bible says the kingdom of God suffereth violence, and you know the rest. So we are saying that if we decide today that we are willing to take that power and we constitute, no, the ballot box will give us, no, Reverend, the ballot box. I know some people might want to disagree that they always manipulate us. I don't want to succumb to that. The ballot box can give us that power.
I'll ask Reverend is, when you say there is no room for inclusion, elections are coming up next year.
Yes.
Now, there are young candidates that are going to present themselves. What stops the youth from rallying around that young candidate so that he becomes president? Because that one is clear. Who stops them from doing that?
The thing is that even the bottlenecks are enormous, because even the ones that are there that they want to become presidents, you see there are a lot of nuances. There are so many small parties. We cannot rally because the status quo already presents those bottlenecks. The section 3, I think, of our constitution elaborates that they should be that suffrage and competition when it comes to elections. But then, do they really give? Let me take, for instance, if you have to become a single candidate, you need at least 300 signatures, true or false, from 30 different people from that's for the 10 different regions, senators, and so on.
Second class, first class.
Yes. I want to ask, maybe I throw back the question to you. How many of those chiefs and senators and those who are up there in power are willing to grant their signatures for that particular candidate in question?
Reverend,
that's why I say that, please, Papa, let me learn.
Because you said you wanted to give the question to me, it's okay.
Yes, you will come back to it, let me learn. When I talk about inclusion, right, I mean that even the stakeholders should include the youths, because to come under one canopy can be rowdy. But if the stakeholders, those who are in charge of the party, because we know that in Cameroon, you must also always table your candidature under a party, true or false?
No, they can be.
But a single individual is a
presidential candidate.
It comes back to my question, that elections are coming. Cabral Libi is a young man.
Exactly, no denying.
He presented himself. Why did the youths not rally around him?
The youth did not rally around him because they felt that it was another scam. Why?
That is where the problem is.
Yes, I throw the question back to you.
I will not want to say that the youth feel that it was a scam.
Their colleague is a scam. Then what is the
the general thing is that they are already so disgruntled about everything, and for them they look at everything that to be kind of suspicious. The question we should be asking is, how can we rally them to come to one, let me put it in pidgin, to come to one mouth, to be able to relate.
When already you start calling a young man a scam, and how do you want them to rally around him? Yes,
that is how they may look at the whole issue. Yeah. I'm not exactly saying that, but that is because why would a young man with that dynamism not be followed?
You see, the idea is, I don't want to feel that they feel that it's a scam. It's a matter of the manifesto, what you present to the population.
Okay,
that should be the key. It's not whether the man. No, I will not want to. And nobody is a scam. Let's be very clear. The Constitution permits every Cameroonian above 18 to stand as a president of the republic. Now you can be an individual candidate above 35 yes, to stand in as president of the republic. That by implication means that I can stand as the president of this country in 2025, and nothing stops me from doing that anyway. Now talking about having 30 endorsement per region, giving you a total of 300. Now we were saying that the one thing I want to tell the youths is that Cameroon will not end in 2025.
Of course not.
After 2025, we shall have another elections, everything being equal, in 2032. That's 7 years later. Now, if these young people are serious, I fall within that age bracket. If we are serious and we feel that we constitute ourselves in our various communities, I come from Boya. Like the introduction states, I am the regional president of the Southwest U League. Now, if we of the Southwest see a particular person and we feel that this is the kind of person, or this is a person we intend to project, if that person cannot stand as an individual candidate or as an independent candidate, what stops the youth from creating a political party? Nothing stops the youth. The 1990 law is there. So nothing stops the youth from creating a political party. And what most of us fail to understand is that when we create a political party, or we start just thinking of becoming president the next day, it doesn't work that way. We should first of all start by seeing how we can get some communities, like 2-3 councils, in different areas. We have 2-3 parliamentarians. We have a senator. You begin from the base and start building. But some of us feel that you just come up, you just create a party today, and tomorrow, 2025, since 2025 is next year, you just want to become the president of the republic. Things don't run that way. Before you run, you must sit. Or before you creep, you must sit. You have to sit, you creep, you stand, you fall, you stand, you fall, and then you walk. Then after that, now you can fly. So you don't just get up one day and say that, no, I want to be the president of the country tomorrow. If things go as programmed by the electoral calendar, we are supposed to have 3 elections in this country next year. The legislative, the municipal, and of course the presidential elections. So if these people if these people organize themselves, if everything being equal, we are supposed to have legislative elections in February. So what stops this guy from starting from that position? If they think that they can do, they create a party. Of course, to the best of my knowledge, the law permits them to do that. Create a party and say that, okay, in this community we are projecting this person, in this community we are projecting this person. They start from there. If they get 1-2 councils, fine. If they get 1-2 councillors and parliamentarians, fine. And then they move on from there.
Is it reliable?
Of course, why not? That's why I'm saying that we have a serious problem with mindset and mentality.
If the youth feel that everything is impossible, what then is the future? Are you saying that they should resign to God, to send angels one day to
definitely cannot do that?
If not, how do we get the youths themselves empowered to engage and take up positions in politics?
The first thing is to deconstruct the mindset that they cannot do it, and reconstruct the mindset that they can.
It's possible.
Yes. And then also maybe tapping inspiration from older African youths who had been there. And you would notice that unfortunately the baton of command was initially handed to pulsating youths back in the days, and then now to relinquish power is a problem. But if we can also quote from people like Patrice Lumumba, Thomas Sankara, who were young, vibrant youths who did their best to project their countries and bring them to the state that it was in those days. And if these youths can also look at such examples, I think that it will go a long way to give them the interest. And also, I still go back to the stakeholders, because the way our nation is, these stakeholders also need to give these youths a chance. I'm not saying that they cannot take power, but to take power, you have to go through bottlenecks. If they can deconstruct also those bottlenecks, I think that the youths will be going a long way to take power. Now like this, they feel like downtrodden, because a youth now doesn't even have bread to eat, for instance, but that youth may have PhD, for instance. To galvanize other youths and to begin a party, it is not just something that we say it by lip spin. We need the finances, we need every resource that we can gather to begin, and then to flow from there.
Reverend, if I may,
Mr. Leo, let me learn. Let me learn.
Yes, okay.
Galvanizing the youths is one thing, and empowering them is another, because when it comes to empowerment, we have every form of empowerment. We need resources to empower people, right? And so if you expect that you should be empowered, that already where they are, they don't even know the next step, it's a very huge problem.
Now, when you say youths are helpless, they don't have what to eat, and they don't have what to do, I don't know, I may take you around Bonamosari this night to see all the snacks, for you to count the number of young people who are drinking. Are these persons who actually do not have what to eat and drink?
That is exactly what I was going to say, Mr.
Okay.
Liu.
Okay.
If I take my community where I come from, I live in Moliko. That's the heart of Boya. These youths the youths in my quarter drink at least 5 bottles of beer every day.
And have you asked yourself why they are drinking like that to stupor? Probably where they have the finances.
The problem is, it goes back to the problem of mentality. Because you can, trust me, for the youth, if the youth rally themselves to sponsor a political party, finances would not be a problem. Intellectually, they are okay.
They are.
They have the intellectual capacity. Financially, I can bet you they have. Go to, like Mr. Low said a while ago, meet the same youths whom we claim do not have the resources.
Organize a party in Kribi, put 75,000.
They will go.
Next month we are going to Kribi, they'll be there.
Every Sunday. The popular one now in town in Boya is what they call Sunday Sharp Veteran. After they play that their football for about an hour or two, go and see them in their clubhouses. At least 50 crates of beer is drunk every Sunday. They sing there from morning till night. Are these the same persons you tell me they don't have sources of income? These people drink every day. So I think it's a matter of mentality. I wish that these people take the case of Senegal as an example, as a measuring rod, as a game changer, and say, hey, this thing that we thought was impossible can be possible. We see all over the social media, they are insulting the head of state that he has been in power for this, that the youngest president in Senegal is 44 years old. Trust me, Ahidjo was the president of Cameroon at the age of 37. He was not even up to 40.
I was saying that. So we are saying that in those days were youths. We
are saying that it is still very, very possible. The head of state, who is 91 years old today, became the head of state at the age of 49. So nothing stops us from doing that. It's a matter of putting ourselves together, think towards the right direction, and say enough is enough. It's high time we took our responsibility and say that this country belongs to us. Like the authorities will always say, you, the youths, are the leaders of tomorrow. Now, they are not. Yes, the truth
offensive.
The truth is that, let's be sincere. Power is sweet. Power is sweet. So if you don't use the idea of the Bible that the kingdom of God suffered violence, then trust me, it's just about 2% of persons on this earth who can and are willing to relinquish power. So you have to make use of the opportunity you have. What's the opportunity these youths have? The numbers. Politics is a game of numbers. So by the time they put themselves together and use this their advantage, trust me, they will go places.
So who is going to guide them towards that course of action?
This is the sensitization we are doing already.
Yeah, but I still want to stay with you, Reverend. We have young people who are opening up enterprises in Cameroon.
There's no denying.
So we have young people who have created credit unions and so many structures. Who is denying or asking them to do that if they can organize themselves in different fora? What stops them from thinking about getting into the parliamentary positions, getting into saying that, okay, we want 21 youths to be municipal councillors this year. Either you take it or we don't vote for you. And they get there and put a young mayor. Isn't it as simple as that?
They still need those training programs. They need a whole deconstruction, like I said before. They can be entrepreneurs and they can be in other fields. But when it comes to politics, they feel that there is a particular pattern, or it's a kind of stereotype, something.
Is there a school where they train people to become mayors or presidents?
They don't train them.
Or MPs, yeah?
But
so
then,
except now that we have NASLA in place.
Yes.
But before NASLA,
there wasn't.
Yeah, it's an administrative position.
But the thing is, the youths, their mentality is already kind of harnessed that this is what it was, this is how it should be. For now, we know that we cannot just go there because this is how it looks like. So at the end of the day, they need to, I'm still agreeing with you, Brother Kizito, they need to deconstruct that mentality that it is for a particular set of people. They need to stand. But now, they need a kind of organization, a kind of route. It cannot happen overnight.
Reverend, let me take you back to presidential elections of 2011 and 2018. I happened to supervise elections in 2011 in Moliko, 2018, October 7th, at Lower Mokongo B, that's Sandpit area. When people say elections are stolen or votes are stolen, that the CPDM steals votes, from what I saw on the field, I'll tell you it's a lie, maybe somewhere else. Because, trust me, 90% of those who came and voted were CPDM militants. 90% of those who came and voted, I took the statistics, unfortunately I did not come with them. 90% of those who voted were CPDM militants. That's one. Two, 90% of those who voted are those of 45 years plus. So where are the youths?
Not drinking.
Where are the youths? On that same day, I'm sorry to say it, on that same day, 5 of my friends, 2018, Sunday, October 7th, 5 of my friends, while we were busy with elections, 5 of my friends were drinking at Dirty South, and they were arrested. They were arrested and locked up because there was a ministerial order that if you are not voting, you stay in your house, or maybe I've forgotten. They were arrested and locked up. So they did not have time to go and vote, to be part of the decision-making process. But they had time and money to buy drinks and be consuming. So it's not a matter of they don't have this, they don't have this. It's a matter of political education. And I think that a group of youths have to come up as leaders, organize themselves, take this as a challenge, and sensitize the youths on the rights for them to be involved in politics. That's what we have. That's the first position. Listen, please. 2025 is a decisive year in the life of this nation, whether we like it or not. If we miss 2025, I'm afraid we have missed it as youths. So it's high time we stood up and take our responsibility. So if a few youths gather and say, okay, hey, the time has come for us to put ourselves together, create this political consciousness, tell the youths, tell our peers that yes, we can, I think we can move forward from there.
There's no deny. I'm not trying to pamper them but if you really look keenly, the drinking and all of that is already a self-defeatist spirit. They are like, we have nothing to offer,
which can be overcome.
We have nothing to lose. Of course it can be overcome. That's what I'm saying. But at this juncture, we are trying to first of all dig the root causes. And one of the things is this defeatist spirit, and it's a risky behavior because they feel that they have nothing to offer to the nation. Already some are drinking like that. It is peers who give the drinks. It's not necessarily all of them who buy it. Some are drinking.
Peers
who are also young people, and so they may have their ways and means. I'm not refusing. There's no denying. But majority of these youths are unemployed.
Sonko, who became president, was he some rich guy?
He wasn't. He was a gardener.
Yes. So not Sonko.
You want to say the guy?
Yes.
Yeah, he was a gardener.
He left within 20 days and became president.
Yes.
That's it. So
20 days later, he became president.
How do we conclude that we have nothing to offer, but we are living decent lives? We can organize ourselves in Kribi. We can organize ourselves in Limbe.
Just look at when this guy organized birthday parties with their friends and girlfriends.
Almost everything to enjoy ourselves, but we have nothing to offer to the nation. But now, let us stay with the youth there. When elections are stolen, the rigging machinery, those who carry the ballot boxes, who are those doing that, Reverend, if I may ask?
That's if there is proof.
If there is proof. Because
I will not stand here and say they carry ballot boxes.
I've been a chairperson during the 2007 elections, and I carried the ballot box. I was guided by 4 soldiers. We finished late in the night. They carried me from upstation right up to the GO's office. There was no rigging.
Who are those collecting the 2,000 that are given before you go and vote?
I didn't see any 2,000 francs anywhere being collected.
I've seen it.
I've seen you saw it, but I did not see it.
I will not deny. Politicians themselves come there and declare voters.
Yes, they may have done it, but I did not see it.
I've seen 3 situations where somebody stands somewhere, you come and yes, you go and vote, and then they expect that you bring
the other papers.
The other papers. You did not vote. Yes, and they check the stamp on your hand, but then I didn't see it. But like I'm saying, I took that box.
That happened.
Yes, it happens. There is no denying.
When this musician was angry, Romutica, he explained all of these things that I'm saying. He said here in Douala, they carried ballot boxes, they struggled in the night, and at the time it was young. These are young persons that you claim do not know their left or right, but who are those working for these guys who are in power today? Are they not the young persons?
They are the corrupt youths.
No, it's not. You are running away from that question.
I'm not running away.
Youth, whether corrupt or not, that the youth was taking their same future.
It is because of their plight that they have decided to take that chicken change.
It's not a matter of plight.
It is their situation.
I feel that you are.
We are running away from reality.
Reverend, I feel that you are defending the law.
I am saying the reality, the truth. What is obtaining today
is what?
Is that
the truth is that
because of what
I'll give you
they have to indulge in those
I'll give you an
malpractices.
experience
So
in a field which is a fact.
Young people who steal, they steal because they lack. Is that what
There are also kleptomaniacs who steal for the sake of it.
Reverend,
So
finally,
these youths, most of them, truth be told, are lazy. They don't want to work. Personally, I witnessed that experience. I had an opportunity where I work. I will not disclose it. There was an opportunity. I came to my quarter. I told my mates that there is this opportunity. Just apply and let's see what happens. What did he tell me? He told me straight to my face that he cannot go somewhere and work, expecting salary at the end of the month, 30 days. And that, by the way, how much will they pay him? But today he's busy running left, right, center in the quarter, drinking beer. He has become a nuisance in the society.
where is he taking the money now?
That's the question. And then we came to say that these people do not have money that they can put themselves together and organize something. It's not true. It's not true. So like I said a while ago, I feel that it's my humble opinion that a few youths should put themselves together and make it public. That the time has come for us to create this political education and awareness.
Okay.
And let's move forward.
We've just been joined by G. Lucas coming from Boya, Southwest Regional Capital, this night. And G, I'm sure you were caught by traffic, and you are here. We're talking about the need for young people to get involved in politics so that we stop the blame game. Do we still need to be blaming others for our non-inclusion, involvement in the political sphere today?
Yes, we should not actually blame others for all of this. Howbeit, I think some actions also could spare the political apathy in most of the youth, and which in most cases the effect is the voter apathy, where the power now lies. Because the first step is you have to be politically educated for you to determine who it's to actually lean on in terms of where to cast your vote and who you have to support. So most of the youth out there are somehow discouraged, and I think several reasons could be advanced for this, which of course what we must accept is no matter what, we all grew up not having that which we now have. We had desired the life that we now have at a certain stage, but some of us did not actually lay down this desire. Some of us did not relent our effort. We kept on pressing, and today we are able to do the things we do and manage the things we're now managing. This is to say that no matter what happens, I believe still that the young persons, the youths, whom in these cases make up about 65 to 70% of the total population of Cameroon, have a lot to play as concerning the political landscape in this country, and to participate, and to why not also have it at the back of their mind that there may be a young person in 2025 who wants to make better the lives of Cameroonians, including the octogenarians, including those who are above the age you think should not lead the country. But how do we take these people away from that position where they are currently holding? Because we, the youth, most of the young people, they have relegated themselves without anyone doing this to them. I understand that most of the things that happened in the past gives a lot of young people reasons to why not take the position they currently have. But this is my explanation. I told some young people, if we are to go back to 1990, when other opposition parties were about launching their party, if you look at the age group that was there, it wasn't the old people we are talking about. They were young people. Most of these persons were in their 20s. Most of these persons had not gone above 25 years of age. They were about 25 years. About 80% of the young people who were determined at the time were not more than 25 years of age. And they were determined to see the change, which some of us now live it. The democracy, some of us now live it. The thing some of us can say today is as a result of the fact that some youth took the bull by the horn in the 90s to set the pace for us to be where we are today. If you look at the pressure that came up in the 90s, still leading to the amendment of the Constitution, or the 1996 Constitution we talk about today, the young people played a significant part in this. The pressure they mounted through the respective political organizations which we have in the country, where most of these young people belong, made their leaders within the political parties to why not have their voices. Most of these young people also were involved in other civic activities within the country, and it also brought to us the tripartite that we had, leading to so many reforms that we have had in the 90s. It is unfortunate that the youth after this do not want to continue exerting that pressure, so that most of the reforms that we had in the 90s, we should be leaving them. Mr. Leo, it was yesterday I had to have a talk with some persons in Boya, my 16 particularly. Then I was explaining to them that there are now institutions in the country that we should have benefits from. I asked a good number of them, what do you know about the regional council? What do you know about the office of the independent public conciliator? What can you tell me about the city mayors? What can you tell me about the budgets these people run? What can you tell me about the office they now hold? But because we have accepted that this detest of politics, which I'll put it in other words, should take over us, it becomes very difficult when you want to talk to them about issues that concerns politics. However, what is most important, as I always tell the youth, is this. It is by a policy that my media prime is running on today. That is, if we had not put in place a law which was actually brought in by the parliament, that is, was made within the parliament, to make it a law that there should be this medium for us to use today to communicate, we wouldn't be here today to talk about the things we are now talking about. This is to tell you that policies are not made by wishful thinking. Policies are not made by how much apathy we raise in us, we build in us. Policies are not made by how much we think others are rigging vote or others are manipulating others. Please, no matter what we do, there is still the need for the young people to go back to the drawing board. And I am saying that 2025 is coming. You have to start asking yourself, if we saw the youth in Senegal, whom we desire, who came out massively, no matter what happened, they were with the persons they had chosen. I think it is also time for us to have this in our mind, because the political landscape of Cameroon in 2025 has a very dynamic change. The level with which there is a shift, which is already happening. I know most of you do not know yet, and this is why we are saying that as the days will keep on going, you are going to receive a lot of political education, because the major reason we are out is that we want to give you the political education that will aid you to make informed decision that will make better the country as you desire, because it is your desire. And there are no two persons that we are going to support except you, that youth who desire to have that ideal country that you have in your mind.
Reverend Jume Raymond is also here in the studio with us, coming from Limbest, Chieftain of Akko Division. We're glad to have you once again after a long time. And the possibility for the youth to change the game as it stands today, is it possible? How do we get there?
Good evening, Mr. Leo, and good evening to the lovely listener, televiewers of Prime R. It's a very pertinent question you've asked. The aspect of voter apathy, as explained by my co-panelists, has been a great cause for concern. And when you ask, can there be a need for change? Yes, youths have a very pivotal role to play as far as the dynamics of the next presidential elections are concerned. And it always goes without saying that you cannot build a house without putting in place a plan. And the Bible says, who wants to build a house without counting the cost? And what we see today is apparently a fruit or a harvest of the seeds that were sown in the years past. Mm-hmm. And so if we are expecting to see a change from 2025 onward, we must be able to make a choice of the kind of seeds we want to sow that we will definitely harvest in the years to come. And so looking at Cameroon currently, Mr. Leo, we are pregnant and hungry for change. And some people think that, okay, change will begin from somewhere, failing to understand that change begins with you. And as much as you refuse to take responsibility, you have already taken you have already made a choice of irresponsibility. And as such, you will not play the blame game, because by you refusing to act, you have already acted. And as such, whatever consequences you derive from your inaction refuses you the privilege to be able to complain. We are where we are today because we have folded our hands for so long and have said, let them do whatever they want to do. When I listen to my brother talking about youth saying not being interested, I remember one day in Limbe, I asked one youth, the session of the council is ongoing. Would you just make out time and go there and know exactly how the funds of the council are managed? Say, may they do it the way they like. And I'm like, are you not aware that it is your money that they are managing? He said, who cares? Let them do whatever they are. So you realize that I want to believe the talk we have had in the past allow politics for politicians, allow journalism for journalists, allow a business for businessmen, has sunk deeply in a lot of persons to feel that, hey, there are some persons that have grace to be able to influence the political dynamics that are occurring in every country. But Mr. Leo, we all must understand that as a nation building cannot be carried forth by only a few. As somebody said, a tree cannot make a forest. It is trees that make up a forest. And therefore, every Cameroonian has a responsibility to be involved. Mr. Leo, in the last presidential elections, I was shocked. You know what was why I was shocked? If we go by the statistics, this current government we have is legal but not legitimate as far as the voters in Cameroon are concerned. Less than 3 million Cameroonians voted the current government in place. And then when the litigations were going on at the level of the Constitutional Council, MTN, Orange, and the rest were able to bring out statistics to indicate that about 8 million Cameroonians were watching the proceedings at the Constitutional Council online and likewise on TV. And the question I asked myself is, hey,
you did not vote.
So 5 million of you are interested in the choices made by less than 3 million? Are you guys sick? So you realize that, imagine the 5 million persons who are interested in the results took part in the elections. The outcome would have been different. So I'm trying to simply say, don't just say, if they will rig election, they will rig. And Mr. Leo, there is something that I must highlight here. Somebody made a statement on a particular platform that they orchestrated rigging elections in Cameroon. And that guy is still walking free. That guy is supposed to be behind bars. You know why? How can you sit in a country and tell people on television that you orchestrated the rigging of elections in '92, and as such, Cameroonians are just watching? And because there is no accountability on an individual that decides to make a plan to take the rights of the citizens, others say, okay, if no accountability is called upon, what is then the need for me to vote? But this is my plea to all of us Cameroonians. Register, vote, and defend your votes. You know why? Your votes will count. Why will your vote count? You've got to defend your votes. I believe that we are inspired of what happened in Senegal. Or we saw a younger person, and like my collaborator said, all the political actors that we see today, that some of us are complaining, oh, they are old, were in their prime engaged in nation building and engaged in the political dynamics of the nation. And you just see that you can fold your arms and things just happen. It doesn't work anywhere until we take action to bring about the change required in this nation. It can't work. I say all the time, if you cannot be the sun that illuminates the whole world during the day, or the moon that lights up parts of the world in the night, you can be a street light. If you cannot be a street light, you know what? You can be a torch light. If you cannot be a torchlight, you can be a candlelight. In everything you do, be the change agent in your sphere of influence. And so as far as elections are concerned, we want you to understand, if you don't vote, you already made a choice. That's right. And the consequences will come, which will definitely follow, and you cannot complain when you didn't take the rightful measures. I also want to say, Mr. Leo, looking at the political landscape we have in the country, you have the CPDM party, the SDF, the MRC, the UPC, the PCRN, and all the other political parties. The USDP. The USDP, of Prince Ekoso Michael.
The Reform Party.
The Reform Party. Now, have you noticed, Mr. Leo, that in most of the councils of these parties, you don't have young people? Politburo of CPDM, check.
Even the Central Committee.
Who is a youth? And then the parties now, in terms of having the appellation, okay, maybe the youth should have their space. They create youth wing. You are the youth wing. And so the youth wing must depend on the main wing for them to carry on activities. And I want the dynamics to change, so that the youths will tell their fathers and mothers. That song used to sing, oh, the youths are the leaders of tomorrow. No, we are the leaders of today, now and tomorrow, and start taking responsibility. And then another thing, Mr. Leo, we need to understand is, in some of the parties where they do investiture, you can't imagine that a youth is invested and then the youths are excited. We want to thank our national chairman. We want to thank our National Executive Committee for investing in a younger person. Wait, is it a privilege?
Whereas it's a right.
Is it a privilege to invest a younger person? It is your right to demand for more. So I'm trying to simply say, let's use the demographics we have in the nation that favors the youthful population to say, this time around, we want a candidate that resonates with the ambitions of the youth. And Mr. Leo, when I look at what is happening in the political spectrum, it goes even far back in the churches.
I want to take this, and then Kizito or Reverend, you're going to react to this. I am above 40 and I have never voted. But after going through this program, I'm prompt to vote next presidential elections. How to register and what's the requirements? I wish the procedure would be smooth. If not, I'm off. It's going to be very smooth. Just ask where Elekam is around where you live, and they're going to register you.
Most of the police stations, they do that.
Okay.
They do that at the police station,
police stations. Okay, just find out, please. Yeah, but you hear. Why I'm reading his messages, so many persons have said, oh, we will not vote because whether we like it or not, elections are going to be rigged. But if you were to ask, if everybody says, if you vote, the votes are going to be rigged, and we know that the statistics from Elekam shows that slightly above 3 million people vote every year. So where are these persons who say we vote and the votes are stolen?
That's the question.
That's really the question, because it's like they are ghosts. At the same time, and like brother said, if you do not vote, you are giving others the opportunity to vote for you and you remain silent. But then, where do they go? The youths are supposed to go massively register to vote and also defend their votes, because probably if they don't defend these votes, the counting may end up as being rigged. So I think that if they go out and vote and defend their votes, I think it will go a long way to curb this. And I will also want to use this opportunity to plead that even the IDPs, because of there is this tendency that because of the stress, the movement, most of them are just slum and like they have nothing to live for. If they can also go out to register and vote, it will be good. I really want to plead that everyone in his or her own little corner should vote. And when they vote and defend this votes like I insist, I think that rigging will be minimal. Because if we know that this population has gone out to vote, and certainly you see a lesser population, there will be a question. The last time we had MTN and Orange who were doing the monitoring and people were watching, and most of them who watch did not vote. I think that this time they should not just monitor, they should not just sit behind like shadows, they should step out and work out their civic rights. Also, I want to also insist that if you do not care about elections in your country, and then you will be making a great blunder, because those who will finally be there, you will still sit and watch them. And then your own vision, your own plans will not come to fruition because you've given the opportunity for others to take decisions for you. Finally, it is very important that we continue to empower and encourage the youth, giving them a safe space to be able to express themselves. Because if they do not have this space to express themselves, then it will not work. I still insist on that because most of our parties, like you said, we have youths as leaders, but at the end, those who constitute like the central committees are not the youths. So you have one image, but from bottom to top should be youths, should be that pulsation where everybody is galvanized as a youth so that everything will flow. I'm not saying that we just completely trim off the old, but the youth should really stand firm. There should be a blend.
Mr. Leo, what really baffles me at times is that when the Reverend talks about defending the vote, it's not just about going to slot that voter's card on that day and go back to your house. Now, what baffles me is that, and probably some of you might have noticed, is that after the voting exercise, around 5:30 p.m. towards 6 o'clock, when the votes are about to be counted, you see the crowd that comes to the polling station to witness
far greater than the number of persons who voted.
It's far greater than the number of persons who voted. Then I start asking myself the question, where were these people? Which interest do they have? They sit in their houses the whole day, and when it is 5:20, you see the whole street is busy. You see,
like they're just waiting.
They're just waiting to come. They're just there to supervise the counting process.
Ghosts should go and
vote
their candidate.
They are the ones who are very at the forefront, counting 1, 2. They do not vote. Now, like Lucas said a while ago, you see, it's as a result of pressure. Whether I like it or not, it is as a result of pressure that multi-party politics was instituted in Cameroon in 1990. Because I can vividly remember that when the SDF party was about to be formed on the 26th of May 1990, there was pressure for that party not to be launched at Tarikon in Bamenda. In fact, on the day that party was launched, 4 persons lost their lives. And 7 months later, after the launching of the SDF party, the head of state, His Excellency Paul Biya, had to sign a presidential decree reinstituting multi-party politics in Cameroon. That was on 19 December 1990, law number 90/056 of 19 December 1990. So what we are saying here is that, and like just like what Lucas said a while ago, we have to put our feet on the ground. Political parties are there to mount. They are just like pressure groups. The only difference between a political party and a pressure group is that the objective of pressure group is not to take power, it's to seek for change. The political parties are there to act as both as a pressure group and aspiring to take over the government. So I feel that the in fact, I want to challenge the political parties in this country that we call opposition at this juncture, that whether they like it or not, they are not doing enough.
Of course, they aren't.
They are, in fact, they are doing little or nothing to change the status quo of this country. Number 2, whether they like it or not, they are selfish. Whether they like it or not, they are selfish. I don't see any reason why, if they feel that they have the interests of Cameroonians at heart, they cannot form a coalition. This person tells you that my objective is different from his, my manifesto is different from this. That's to tell you that at the end of the day, they have their selfish interests. They are thinking about themselves. Why can they not sit 3, 4, 5 opposition political parties, come together, sit, have a common ground that, okay, let's keep this, let's bring this together for the interest of the people, and then we move forward. Having said that, the pivot of my discussion, of my interventions in this program, circulates around the youth. I happen to be one of the youth leaders in the Southwest region. That we have to go back to the drawing board. I was told that the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. And if you failed to plant that tree 20 years ago, the second best time to do that is now. Let us assume that we have been docile. Let us assume that we were ignorant. Let us be inspired by what has just happened in Senegal. Let us take advantage of our numbers. Politics is a game of numbers.
That's right.
We,
That's right.
are going in to change the country, this country, if we feel that it is not working the way we want, we have the duty to change it. Voting, we should warn, is a civic right, but not a civic obligation. A law, silence is a form of acceptance. If the time reaches, you don't register and you don't vote, you have already voted for somebody. You have already taken another decision by not voting. It's a decision you have taken. So what we are saying is that, hey, it's time for reflection. Let's take a minute, sit back, think. Is this what we want this country to be? Is this how we want this country to continue?
Okay.
If we are not there tomorrow, what happens to our siblings? What happens to our children? We have to fix the bed for them to lie comfortably on come 2025.
Okay.
Because that is
I want us to address this worry by Nuruddin, because Nuruddin is speaking the minds of many young people. Good evening, sir. I love your show, sir, but the question is, I don't know who to vote for. That is also the problem, where we have politicians who have been there forever, and the youth themselves are seeking for who can inspire them and give them a new hope, like Obama spurred so many persons to get interested, and we saw what will be the effect in Nigeria. Is that also what we are looking out for? But if the youths don't know who to vote for, why can't you dare, you this dynamic young guy? Yes, why can't you dare, and then we mobilize, and yeah, that's also the problem.
Yeah, this is what I always explain. I have these questions every day. If I go to my inbox, I'll show you, I mean, a number of them. It's as simple as this. The first step is register for election. Have that card. The second step is go through this political education we are giving, and you will determine who to vote for. I've also explained these two things. I like borrowing from the US a lot when it comes to this aspect. In the US, we have a set of persons known as undecided voters. Now, they play a lot in terms of making the choice of who becomes the next president amongst the college of electorate in the United States. They swing
the elections, yeah.
Yes. And these undecided voters, when it is time, they follow to close to the end. They will observe who is saying what, who is doing what. As it stands, I am a member of the civil society, and I cannot tell you that go and vote for PCRN, go and vote for PAP, go and vote for USDP, go and vote for CPDM, go and vote for MRC, go and vote for SDF, go and vote for Reform Party, and so on. All I will tell you is this: you are going to have the education enough before that period of election to determine whom you are going to cast your vote for. Now, remember that you are the one who is going to give that person a pass grade, because in politics, the report card of the person who is in power and the person who wants to come in is given on the day of election. That is, you are going to decide on who is going to become the next president as you desire, because before that day, you must have observed what they are saying, what they are doing, how are you convinced with what they are doing, and by that time, you should already know who to give your vote to. It is always very simple. The first step is you must be eligible to decide on that day. So once you have registered for elections, you have your voter's card, you can now decide on who to give your votes to, because you must have been able to see, you must have seen the things which you desire. Right now, you already know what you desire. If you see that which is currently happening to be what you like, then on that day, you may want to give that person another hope. You may want to praise that person further, that you have done well. As Christ will say, thou good and faithful servant, you have done well. So what I am saying is, you should not get discouraged. You shouldn't feel bad, because as much as you are now asking questions, most of the young people out there ask questions, and they have three fundamental questions: who to vote for, what would change if I vote, and what guarantee do I have that there will be the change. And I've always explained that there are certain things that we need to do, And some of these things, they're always very easy for us to understand. What is quite important and interesting in the case of Cameroon is, if we are to go based on the electoral calendar, we have 2 elections that will come before the presidential elections. And like I explained somewhere, it's always very easy for us to solve these problems. The easiest election that you can use to determine who is going to be the head of state of this country, you have the municipal and the legislative elections. If you understand the power of the municipal and the legislative elections, the persons to choose, then you will know exactly who can actually be the next president.
Because they also decide who becomes the senators.
They decide who becomes the senators.
They're the ones who vote.
They are the ones who vote. And these same people, after they must have put the mayors in place and the councillors, they are the ones to decide who becomes the regional council members and many other persons involved. And I explained this to some youth, that if you were to go back to 1992, looking at the situation in 1992, though there had been a decision by the ruling party, she had gone in, contested the elections, won the elections, won the presidential elections, and many more. But she had a problem. What was her problem? She never had the total number that would give her the power at the level of the parliament. And what did she do? She had to meet other parties to discuss with them and to form a coalition so she could have a majority. This is to tell you that the presidential election is not the most powerful elections in the country. The presidency is not the most powerful institution in the country. I know you did not know this. So before the presidential elections in 2025, we have the municipal and the legislative elections. So you may want to begin from there. In your municipality, you are already seeing what the mayor and the others are doing. Do you think they are working as you desire? Because you are the boss, as I've always put it. The electorate and the potential electorate are the bosses. And when you make the right decision, you are going to have the right employee. And you will be the one to control that employee, to tell that employee what you want. So, Mr. Leo, it is simple to that person. Get the vote card. Once you register for election, have your vote card. Mr. Kizito and the reverends on the panel, including myself, we are not going to relent to educate you on how you have to manage yourself between now and February 2025. Remember that Elekam is going to close her doors by the 31st of August, and she will have to open them again only by the 1st of January. So between now and August 29, you have to think about how to register first, have your vote card. When you must have had this vote card, you are now eligible to make the decision on who becomes your mayor, who becomes your MP.
Okay, before you...
Yes, I wanted to intervene on the aspect of Elekam and registration.
Okay.
It's important for the general public to know that apart from registering at the offices of Elekam, organizations, civil society, associations, churches can constitute their members and invite Elekam to get them registered.
Yeah.
Because I was part of an exercise that took place in Limbe recently, coordinated by the first deputy city mayor for Limbe, Madam Karen, at the CDC camp in Bimbia, where she mobilized the individuals in that community, and Elekam came and registered the people. And so when I was speaking with the authority of Elekam, he's the one who told me that this exercise is not about people always coming to their office. They can come to the community. And I want to make an appeal. Thank God I have a reverend on set this evening. When we have vaccination for malaria, polio, and the rest, we usually see the campaign team move to churches. Okay? And the churches will give them opportunity to get their children vaccinated and so on. So I want to make an appeal to every pastor watching me this evening. It's high time you start telling your members they shouldn't be thinking a lot about heaven, that they want to go to heaven and then think that earth will just remain like that. The Bible says you are the salt of the earth and the light of the world. So my appeal to pastors is, during Sunday service, ask your Christians, how many of you have your voter's card? If they don't have, reach out to the nearest Elekam office around you and invite them to come to your church. Get your members registered. I'm one of those persons who is advocating that Christians should take responsibility in getting involved as far as nation building is concerned. Many of us are very good in prayer, but prayer without work is dead. So by the time you are praying that you need change in Cameroon and cannot go and cast your vote, you definitely will not be doing what is expected. That lady who sent that message asked, who should I vote? I don't know who to vote. And Lucas tried to give an explanation to try to tell the televiewer that, okay, when the time comes, you will know who. And I want to challenge the political parties in Cameroon. SDF, NUDP. I want to ask, are you seeing any political activity going on in Cameroon? Yeah. We are not seeing you in the field.
No, the PAP, not calendar. The PAP is on the field.
Okay.
The SDF, as we speak, the chairman is going around.
Okay.
And then MRC is doing.
All right. What I'm trying to say is,
they cannot. They cannot hold rallies now because it's a period.
Yes, what I'm trying to say is, in as much as they're not carrying on campaign, Mr. Leo, what people need to know is that when you are asking me to trust you with my vote, you're telling me, oh, vote me, I will build you a bridge. Now that you have not had the money that I will give you to build a bridge, what are you doing in my community? Because people want the community to give them trust, to believe in them for the future. Integrity is not, I cannot trust you if your integral life has not been seen in the community. So I'm trying to simply to say to politicians that, listen, we need individuals in politics who are community driven, who are engaged in the development of their community, so that by the time you are asking for my vote, for me to vote you to be a councillor, for me to vote you to become a mayor, I should be able to see what you have done in the community. Unfortunately,
interestingly, we have Mr. Eswa here. I think within the Southwest Youth Link, a lot of young persons are having a lot. I'm not campaigning for him because he's not running for office yet. When the time comes, we will know that. So yes, and I did not want to forget one thing you also said. The Bible makes it very clear. If the righteous are the ones leading, if I'm paraphrasing, the people will rejoice. But if the wrong person takes on that position, there will be suffering and cries every day in the country. So, like you said, the church should not shy away from that. Yeah, we have several young persons who are currently doing something.
Okay. And just to add, we have the peace office of the Presbyterian Church who is really promoting the ideals of reaching out. Like, we have slogans, the voice of the people is the voice of God, do well to vote, so that. And then I also wanted to add that we should also make an informed decision to vote. Find out, there are lots of local newspapers, and a lot of people, they used to say that if you want to hide something from a Cameroonian, put it in a book. Many people don't read, or even if they do, the essence is not there. So if we can, if like the young lady was asking how or whom she can vote. These activities are going on in the field. They are seeing it. There are newspapers giving updates of what people are doing in the field, the different parties. It's good that they get involved. The church too, like you said, it's just to re-emphasize what you're saying. The church is doing their part, but then I don't think that they are doing enough.
I agree.
Let me learn, Papa. They are not. I don't think they are doing enough. And I just want to add to your point. There is a clarion call that the church should emphasize on this. Most people go to church because of worries, because of a lot of things they are going through, and if they can also elevate some of these things physically by telling the Christians to go and vote so that things will be okay, I think it's a long way that these pastors or clergy will be going to make sure that the people to go and show up for their civic rights.
All right. Okay. Now the question of who should I vote is very pertinent, Mr. Leo. The reason why that question is being asked, and it's asked multiple times where I come from in Limbe, is because people are yearning for alternative voices. They have seen the different faces, be it at the level of the municipal council, the regional council, the parliament, and at the president. The issue now is they're looking for alternative voices, but what they are seeing on the field is the same people whom
But
25, the young people.
yeah, but that is a question. But that's a question I asked you, which you did not respond to.
The answer was simple.
There are persons who have been there forever, and I talked about maybe the youths are looking up to somebody like Obama or Obi that can inspire a new hope. But let me just take one of the messages. Somebody is talking about you, Kizito, I'm sure it's you. He says, good evening, Mr. Leo. It's Ambrose writing from Bamenda. Very interesting and inciting topic. Please, our brother in white. Yes, it's you who's in white. Brother is white is speaking a lot of sense. He seems impregnated with all it takes as a youth to rally other youths behind him and table his candidacy to become our next president, especially as he supervised elections in the past somewhere in Boya. Let him go ahead. We are strongly behind him. Why does he talk as if he belongs to a political party, whereas he is not? He's not qualified to contest the post of the president. He should be telling us that he wants to go in as our president in the upcoming elections.
Well, it's a dream. And to be very, very honest with you, nothing stops me from doing that. I'm a Cameroonian. It's my civic right to place my candidacy as the president of Cameroon. So let's see what the days ahead will look like. But like I said, you don't just get up one day and become the president of a country. Of course, we are inspired by what's happening in Senegal. We are inspired by what happens in Nigeria. You see, for a very long time, we've not experienced such an election like what just happened in Nigeria. So, I, as a youth, as a Cameroonian, of course, it's my right. I would think about it, and if it's possible, of course, I may be laughing, but it's something which is not completely going to be thrown away. If we think that we can mobilize ourselves, we put ourselves together, and of course, unity is strength. Like I said, we have the numbers. Nothing stops us from doing that. So in the days ahead, we'll see, and we'll see how we can move on from there. Okay. Generally, personally, I would like to get in contact with that person.
Okay, you would like to get in contact with such a person. There is something now. Almost everybody says in 1992, because you find young people say they are quoting 1992, and you know very well that 1992, all of them were babies, eh?
Yes.
But they keep telling you that elections were stolen in 1992. Why do young people not believe that 1992 we did not have smartphones, we did not have the internet, we did not have all of this? Why don't we go for elections with these new innovations?
Yes, Mr. Leo. The advancement of technology as far as election monitoring is concerned is playing for our advantage. And because it's playing for our advantage, it is therefore necessary that we are educated to know that we can take advantage of the season in doing what is right. Like I said at the beginning, the challenge we currently have is that for you to come up as a political candidate, you need, one, the structure and the resources. In terms of structure, you need to be able to mobilize youths of like minds, to be able to galvanize behind you so that they can be able to believe in the vision that you have for the country. And you also need the resources. And what I can say from my experience in the field is that many of these youths who may want to come up don't have the resources. And because some of them have not had time to write down their visions, because visions are followed by provision, it becomes difficult for them to raise their head to say, this is what I want to achieve. And so when we make reference of 1992 and we are afraid to take responsibility now, is because there have been in communication, you say when you bring something up to people regularly, it becomes a local reality. So the phobia of youth thinking, it's their stuff, has made some people say, let it just be the way it is. And that's why I'm happy with this particular platform. Because the reason why you are bringing this topic is to let youths out there know that there is a possibility for them to take responsibility. And I say all the time, responsibility has two words, response and ability. So if they say you are responsible, it means you are optimally responding to the ability you have. And if you are irresponsible, it means they are not responding adequately. So the youths out there need to...
You are reversing the responsibility.
You are reversing, exactly. And so it is important for youths out there to know that while you are saying that, okay, I'm happy with what has not been done on set here, of identifying a youth who has a vision and is trying to rally other youths to say, hey, okay, if we can identify this brother, this sister to be doing this, what is expected is to move as a team so that we can be able to win as a team, because one youth cannot do it all alone. So I'm trying to simply say that youths out there, be able to identify other youths in your sphere of influence who are interested in the political life of your community and be able to rally behind them to bring about the needed change. So that at the end of the day, we'll not be going back to say, in the days of 1992 is how many years from between today and 1992 is about 30 years.
30. Is it up to
32 years?
So imagine us making reference 32 years back, whereas we are supposed to take responsibility now. So I'm trying to say that be able to make a plan. Because you can't just wake up and say, I want to become the president of Cameroon. Because you can't win elections in Cameroon with your local popularity. Elections in this country, which are national elections like the presidency of the republic, is won by national universal suffrage. So you can't be able, if at all we have a youth in Yaoundé, another youth in Maroua, another youth in the northwest, another one in Limbe or in Boya, you should be able to mutualize your effort and set up a platform. And with the advancement of technology, it is possible.
So
it is very, very possible to create WhatsApp groups, to be able to link up with other youths so that we can be able to develop the momentum required. And I must let us know, our fathers are afraid of our force.
of course, yeah, that's a fact. Yeah.
It is our division that gets them comfortable. Exactly. And that is what strategy do they use? They use divide and rule. Apart from using divide and rule, what do? They identify one of us who has strength, give him some money. And when they give him some money, you know, he will no longer become agitated to want to take their position. Then when you now come up with a neutral voice to say, this has got to stop. He is the one now to fight you. So we should be wise to avoid this distraction from our brothers who are comfortable with the status quo. Because if we must be able to get extra results from what we currently have, we must be able to do the extra that the
resist the temptation.
In fact, Reverend, you have just made a pivotal statement. I was speaking with one of my friends who is a councillor. I think you might be watching us, City Councillor Peter Kum Leanard, and he made a statement which is very, very fundamental. If you are hungry and you don't have values, you will flow with the tide of who is able to give you money. So since the fathers and the elderly have taken note that most of these youths are beggarly, what do? They throw money at them so that they can be able to do their bidding. But if at all you don't have, and you are poor and you have values, which is what I'm advocating for, let's stop putting up the beggarly attitude. Because at the end of the day, what baffles me, Mr. Lucas, is that these guys who throw this money at us, it's not their money. It's money that some of them have stolen from state coffers, taxpayers' money that they are coming to give us a portion of it as peanuts, and then we are getting excited. Whereas we can be able to take responsibility and man these administrative and municipal offices to be able to defend.
I have this image. You dangle a bone before a dog. You dangle onto his salivates, and you give the bone to the dog. The dog becomes very grateful.
Yes. So, and so youths out there should stop being beggarly and be able to tell our fathers, whom we still love and care about, that it is time for us to be given our rights, because we want to be able to serve our nation in our prime, so that by the time we are also living, we set the precedence of passing on the baton. Somebody said, you are not successful until you have a successful successor. And I'm trying to simply say that the politicians in this country need to do justice for the youths of this country. And what do they have to do? What they have to do is tell their peers, we have served our nation in our prime, let's give it to the younger generation to do the needful. Because at the end of the day, by the time, you know the joy you have as a father, as an elderly person, seeing somebody you groomed, you mentored, you coached, being able to do the things that you can watch them do, it gives you joy. So I'm trying to say that we are not trying to say father should go away. Watch the youths do what you did when you were young.
Nurture them.
Nurture them, groom them, allow them to be able to exercise their abilities and skills and demonstrate their love and competence for this country.
Reverend, how do we get more youths to believe in the existing system and to know that although there exist some difficulties and the system does not actually reflect their aspirations, they can mobilize and still beat the system?
Actually, Mr. Leo, they need to first of all believe in themselves.
Okay.
If you don't know where you are coming from, you will not know where you are going to. Believe that you can do it. Believe that you are worthy enough. Secondly, I continue to plead to policy makers and stakeholders like my brothers, give the youth a space and a chance to express themselves. Thirdly, they should understand that nobody will do it for them except themselves. They must put I lay emphasis on this. They must be able to put effort. If you just slump and throw your arms out, this is how it was, this is how it will be, it will continue to follow that trend. Also, they should be inspired by great people in the past, like I talked about Thomas Sankara. I talked about this man of Congo, the name has just escaped now, Patrice Lumumba, who were also youths who brought a lot of changes in their nations. We can also say, like Obama, that I can do it. And when with that determination, the others will rally behind you. And the next one is that the youth should understand that it will not just happen like that. They need the backing. They need the educational backing. They need to be educated, especially politically. What am I heading in for? What is there for me? What are the stakes? Because if I just say that I want to become a president tomorrow, and then there is no backing behind me, where am I going to? I need to be educated. I need to have a sound education about the political situation of the country so that I will not falter at a certain point. And finally, they should, I insist, believe that they can do it, because people did not just come from the blues to become presidents. They had a vision. They worked hard towards that vision. They strategized, and then finally they got to that point. They should believe in themselves, and I think that they are going to make it, because the way the status quo of the country is, if you do not push, then you shove. Nothing will come. If you think that you will just fold your arms, it will not meet you. Even in the Bible, God told Adam that you must work hard for your bread and you must sweat on your brow in order to achieve something. So in order to achieve, this youth should not slump. They should not hang out and drink, and instead take those resources and harness them into something better. Because if you continue to slump and you glaze and lace yourself with alcohol, that this is all about me, there is nothing for me, at the end of the day, there will also nothing for you to show up for. So they need to work hard and stand up for themselves.
They need to work hard and stand up for themselves. Some persons say the three guys who are in the studio here should form a crew and start sensitizing young persons. And I think I should read some of the messages here. That's so many and interesting. Good evening. Stop calling. Good evening, Mr. Leo and crew. Those three young men and panel can form a crew to sensitize the youths. They are competent. Charles is writing from Tico. This was it. My question is, why is it difficult for elections results to come out the same day of voting in Cameroon? Good evening, Mr. Leo. The program of today is very interesting. I love the way the man in white is explaining things. My worry is that in some towns like Limbe, the kit used for registering citizens at Elecam office for the elections are very few. A town like Limbe has only one kit. Youths are prepared to register, but the machines are very limited, making people to stay at the station for too long. A young youth is writing from Limbe. Good evening, Mr. Leo. You have an excellent topic and theme today. I am interested in the role of the church. I wonder if the church can be a true example of the state. Are the church elections, okay, are church elections different? Jacob is writing from Bamenda. Good evening, Mr. Leo and the panelists. The Minister of Communication already said there is no need for coalition. He is already telling us that even if the opposition parties come out with coalition, they will not the Minister of Communication. I'm Gerald writing from Boya. Please just get registered. Mr. Leo, good evening. The topic is so interesting. Please, I believe this topic is creating a lot of awareness. If we can have such programs almost every week, I think before the elections, about 4 million people add onto the voting list. Good evening, Mr. Leo, and many thanks to the management of My Media Prime for an educative program like this. What happened in Senegal will surely happen in 2025 if and only if a youth like Mr. Samuel Eto'o will accept to represent us. We are hopeful it will happen. Okay?
Just what I was saying when I was coming today.
Okay, what were you saying?
The way the traffic, the euphoria and everything. I just turned and told the driver that the way this place is, the way Eto'o is popular, if he can stand and give his candidature, I'm sure many people will vote for him. I didn't know that it will come to the panel today. It's horrible.
When coming along the stretch that leads to the compound.
It's horrible.
Samuel Eto'o's compound?
Yes. It's something else. I have not seen that kind of traffic
in a long time.
I have not seen that kind of clearance by the police. The whole stretch of a road was blocked. I mean, whether I like it or not, the popularity that old young man has is something else.
Which young man?
I say old young man.
Which old young man?
He's older than me, but a young man. Samuel Eto'o, I'm talking about an old young man. He's older than me, but he's a young man. So I reserve my comments on that. That's his personal decision, you know. I cannot decide for him. That's his personal decision. It's his political choice. If he chooses,
persons have decided for you, or maybe soliciting that
you should go in.
It's okay. Of course, it's my right. I may sit over it and I say, okay, fine, it's okay.
Cameroonians know who they want.
Exactly.
They know the quality of leaders they want on the political space. I've always said this, that we need leaders in politics and not politicians in leadership. And what do I mean by that?
Politicians think about elections, whereas leaders think about the next generation.
Yeah, but you know, there's something.
So I'm coming. So I'm trying to simply say that the reason why that request is coming for Eto'o, why can't he stand because of his popularity? Why is Eto'o popular? He is popular because Cameroonians feel that he has been able to make a sacrifice and give in for the service of the nation. And another guy who is with us here, who we might want to ignore, is Mr. Kum. You getting me?
Now,
what I'm trying to say is,
a lot of impact in this country.
Let's be able to call a spade a spade. There are many Cameroonians that are making great impact in our nation. And the people who are asking who should we vote are expecting these individuals.
Yeah, you know, he had asked it in one of his in one of his programs that do we think that should some other person come in?
I said but I asked you that question. You did not get it. The problem is persons may not really be interested in we blame the fact that people are not registering because of voter parties because the elections were stolen. But to some extent people are tired of the same faces for 25 years. And I used the example of Obama and Obi.
The fresh face.
That's why, Mr. Leo, I'm saying that there are persons who are making impact in Cameroon. People want to trust those they know.
Papa, let me garnish it. They want those. You know, a politician loves his career, his ambition. A leader loves to bring progress and growth and build the nation. A leader gets involved in nation building. A politician is involved in his career, his
And his
growth,
interest.
his interest and his image.
So
there is a dichotomy between that.
So
and
what-
people want a leader, a fresh face, and
Beautiful.
someone who has done a lot.
Beautiful stuff. I'm simply saying that Cameroonians have seen those who are their icons,
Exactly.
who are their heroes. But these heroes and icons are not in the political space. That's why the question is, who are we going to vote?
Yeah.
Which is therefore a call for concern for individuals who feel that they can answer to the people's call.
Okay, which means that
Yeah.
there are persons who are putting on the political shoes, forcing themselves
Yes.
to the people that vote me, buy me. But the people say,
No.
Not be you.
Not be you. They know their candidates. They know who is
Trust me, I just want to align to what they are saying. If the population, particularly the youths, are much more interested in the youth wing, if the youth see the person they want, trust me, even those who come around that polling station or those police stations to give them those 2,000, they will not take. They will not take.
they'll chase them.
It's just because they have just conditioned their mind, and when they come there, they see the same person, so they just know that, of course.
But do you know what? Do you know what? We are saying that these are things that are not given. You take them. Now, we are saying that the electorate, the majority of the electorate and potential voters are the youths.
Yes.
Accept
They determine who should be there. They have the powers to do that.
They are the heartthrob of the society.
Yes. If the youth gets up today that we do not want this person, whether you invest in that person from a particular political party or not, and a majority of the youth from that party says, this is what we are going to do, we will turn to a direction where we see someone whose actions are almost like
Very
that
visible.
good. They will move to that direction.
That's what we are
That
saying.
party, though haven't invested on that person, that investiture would be reconsidered.
Of course.
Because that person is not the face they want at that particular level.
Sure.
But you know, the youth think that it is given. No, it is not given.
You go get it. You go get
Alright.
it.
Basiru did not sit down in Senegal and woke up to be the president of Senegal. Basiru did a lot with his friends while they were still in high school. They went to university, they were still doing the same. The conversation continued, and they told themselves, this is what we are going to do. And they did not stop. And today, Senegal is the only country with majority of its ministers who are relatively young people. Because a young man is there, and he has brought in leaders who, in this case, have only one focus: to go by the will of the people, to bring the growth and the betterment for all. So what I am saying is, we should be able to understand that it is not going to be given to a young person. Though we may make some appeals to the old ones, that they have to consider who to succeed them. I tell you the truth, there are old people in this country who are determined that their grave is going to cut them short, not that they will give anything to anybody. So should the youth sit? No, the youth should pick up their shoes, put them on, and start moving, because this is the only thing left for the youth. The agility of the youth is something that we should take advantage of it. We are so agile, and if we do not make proper use of such moment, when we must have also moved into their shoes, we will start complaining like some of our forebears or some of our older ones are complaining that in 1992, I said it from the beginning that the changes we have in the respective laws that came up in the 90s was as a result of the pressure the youth had behind the political parties that were in place. So with regards to the change of face in respective political parties, it is easier for the youth to make that decision. Now, if we will remove gluttony, it is going to solve the problem. If we take that off, if you consider not to eat for a day because you were given a certain 10,000 on the day of election, or on the day when a said political party came out, and you refuse that 10,000, that you want a better life, you will have that better life. So I think nothing is going to be given to the youth. the youth should pick it up. And the first step towards picking this up is accepting that I want to understand the political landscape. Once you accept this, then you are going to get it. And the entrance into that landscape is your registration. Once you have your registration, it is the entrance. Because by this is the reason I said that when you have this, once you are informed, on that day you are going to make an informed decision on who to elect. Because what I see in 2025 is most of the faces, let me shock you, 2/3 of the faces you now see will not be there by 2025. Don't bother. 2/3 of the faces you see in most of these political parties, they won't be there by 2025. In most of these political parties, when you and I must have educated ourselves and taken what belongs to us, most of these political parties will want to identify young persons and other people to place to be the face of their party, because the dimension which I want you and I to take this is going to be something else. So I have no issue. My only concern is for those who think that the status quo will not change. If I were to enumerate to you things that have changed as a result of the pressure mounted by the youth, there are two things that will change in this country. Either the change will come through putting a stringent law on the people because of an action of the youth, which already tells you and I that your pressure produced a fruit. Perhaps the fruit was not the fruit you desire. So you should have in your minds that you are already doing something. So I still do not think that the old people are going to give it to the young people. What the young people need to do, the youth, is have in mind that if in Senegal, and for those who do not know, the dynamics in the United States is not being carried out by the old people you think. The young people in America and the West in general caused the government of the West to make a lot of reforms as per the system to suit the youth, not the old people, because they understand the impact on them. So we should not be indifferent as concerning these things. We can make the change. We can make the change. We are saying that 2025, I tell you the truth, you will see it for yourself. 2/3 of the faces you are seeing, which you have seen,
okay, let me take a
will not
few.
be the faces.
Good evening, Mr. Leo. The topic is an interesting one. Please, just wanted to ask, what is the venue of Elekam in Cameroon, value of Elekam in Cameroon, because I only see the value of Elekam when the CBD militants are going out for campaigns. So what the faith of the other political parties is? Joseph is writing from Manfred. No. Joseph, I've seen the CRM militants invite Elekam members and they are registering their militants. I've seen the SDF, I've seen the PAP, just that, and the church could invite.
Something I've just dropped in my mind. Please, this is an appeal to Elekam. We have seen Minposter and other ministries cautioning Cameroonians and advising them. Elekam could also subscribe with MTN. They should also subscribe with MTN and any other. Yes, yeah. I mean, they could take over the My Media platform also to tell the people where to, because the board chair of Elekam and members of Elekam, this is what they need to know. Because when you look at the messages, a lot of persons are asking where, despite the explanation.
But the problem is, when you engage some of them, they tell you that no, we are doing. We are the ones who are getting real feedback.
Personally, I was in Yaoundé 2 weeks ago, and I was at Elekam. I posed that same worry, and the response they gave me from the communication unit is that they are doing a lot of sensitization, and in most cases, what I proposed was that they follow the mainstream of communication. I mean, they have to go to these other various means of communication.
Okay. Good evening, Mr. Leo. I'm Abongwa from Bamenda. My problem with elections in Cameroon is that the Constitutional Council that is not independent. In Senegal, it was the Independent Constitutional Council that changed things for the better. Good evening, Mr. Leo. Talking about registration, but where we are not, everyone knows the Elekam office or means no campaign for registration. I'm Silva writing from Suza. This one says, why is it that we are doing the things which God is against and we keep calling his name? God said we should not kill, but politicians kill without the fear of God, because they know that they shall be punished on the judgment, without people saying, God is watching. Any youth rising up for elections is doing it at his risk and bear in mind that is angry with killing of his people. Okay. Greetings, great minds. It is an interesting program. So I have been following your programs for years now, and I have learned so much from your program every day. We are all asking who should we vote for, but you can still go in for the elections. No, I'm a journalist, please. Good evening to everyone. Based on the upcoming presidential elections that is to take place in 2025, as for me, I think Samuel Eto'o can be fit for the post to change Cameroonians. Now, there are persons who really, when you hear them, they hardly tell you that they want this politician to work. Why can the politicians not also recognize that maybe persons are tired of seeing them and recruiting some of these guys?
The reason is very simple. The reason is very simple, because the only permanent thing in politics is interest. So, like I said when we started, power is sweet and corrupt. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. So, a politician who is a minister today, or who is a senator today, trust me, sees no reason, finds no comfort in giving up his position. That title of Monsieur le Sénateur, Honorable, Monsieur le Ministre, all these appellations are very sweet in French. They don't sound good in English. No, they don't sound sweet in English. Monsieur le Sénateur, you see how they carry themselves up. And then all of a sudden you just come and tell the man, please just step down for a young man to take over. No, they will not. So that's why we are saying that the only way through which we can take, when I talk about we, I'm talking about the youth. The only means through which you can take these positions from these persons is not by magic. It's by doing the needful. Create the political awareness amongst your peers. Some of you are watching this program. A chunk of others are busy somewhere. Probably you might have learned something today, like my friend who sent in that message from Bamenda and saying that I should be the president candidate next year. Maybe you must have learned, he has listened to something today. Another person said he has followed the program and he has changed his mind. There should be that multiplier effect. Meet the next person. Tell the next person that, hey, I was thinking this way, but after having gone through this, I think there should be a rethink. Let us put ourselves together. Go to the various police stations, the divisional officers' offices, elecam offices, get yourself registered. The first procedure is get that voter's card and keep. When that time comes, the person who presents to you the best manifesto that you think is so convincing that can move Cameroon forward, you go there. The good thing is that that voting process or exercise is secretive. It's secretive. Nobody sees what you do in there. Go there. Make your choice. Okay, making your choice heard.
Let us do some survey here, sample survey for those of you who are watching.
An assumption survey.
Yes. Right? Somebody just has written. Let me see if I can take that message. It tallies with what Mr. Njume, no, Reverend Njume said earlier on. Says, okay. Good evening, my people. We as Cameroonians know the kind of leaders we want. We can't vote until we see the one we desire to be our leader, and those who claim to be leaders. Just as you people said, we need leaders in politics and not politicians. So, if you are watching us, just send us a name of the person you would want to see that will inspire you to go for elections. Let's take this 10 minutes. If you are watching, just send a name now.
That's interesting.
Please, just send a name of a person that will inspire you to go vote next year. We may channel this to the person. Yes.
You see, Mr. Leo, you just raised a pertinent question. Who is the chairman of the CPDM party? We have His Excellency President Paul Biya. Who is the chairman of the NUDP party? We have His Excellency Bello Buba Maigari. All these faces, we have known them for over how many years? 30 years. That is that is a century. That is a generation. So people are
the one of UPC.
So people are looking for new faces,
fresh faces,
and it is but normal that what is constant in human life is change. So politicians in Cameroon need to understand that the reason they got involved into politics is for the well-being of the nation and not the well-being of their party.
And they are an integral part of
the country. They should know that when the nation succeeds, their party has succeeded. That is why they have to bury and keep aside their personal ego, you understand, to be able to put the interest of the nation first. I remember the arguments like somebody raised of the coalition. I've said it time without number, and I want to see repeated on this set. If we don't have a candidate that is appealing to Cameroonians, then we are good to stay with the CPDM. Why am I saying so? For any political party to be able to unseat the CPDM that is already represented in the national territory, you must be able to have national representation. And no political party, from my analysis, I might be wrong, as far as the status quo is concerned, has that representation nationwide. So it is the factor of a coalition that can make it that, okay, Lucas has strength in the southwest. What's the name again? Kizito has strength in littoral. Adamu has strength in the far north, where you mutualize your efforts and say, okay, this is our candidate. If we don't do that for the interest of the nation, then I want to say to the politicians, just cancel the political party, because it simply shows that your interest is not the nation, your interest is apparently you. So it's a call for concern for all of us. Mr. Leo has asked us to make proposals of the people that we want. But the political setting, it will interest you to know that in the CPDM, their constitution says it is their chairman who is their natural, who is their statutory candidate. Same with other political parties. So it may be interest you to know that,
or similar.
So if at all the population wants somebody different, by their party internal rules and regulations, I'll tell you that no, this is not what our party stands for. So it is high time the political leaders get to a place where they can be able to go beyond what their party aspirations are, like you made mention earlier, to mutualize effort. I might not be the president, but I'm happy that I made somebody a president. In our chiefdoms and fiefdoms, that's what people we call them king makers.
They are always at the back.
So if you are not the king, if you are not the king, you still have the pride
as a king
on the premise that you were the one that was able to make this king, and of course the king will always have respect for you and will listen to counsel from you for the interest of the kingdom.
And psychologically, it's self-satisfying to give a shove to someone. You are at the background.
You're right.
The person is at the spotlight.
You're right. Yeah.
It gives you a nice sense of fulfillment that you too can also hold someone by the hands and lead the person to the spotlight.
In fact, you've just made some. Kizito, can you give me your hand? Watch this. Can you zoom it? Okay, Kizito, if I've lifted up Kizito's hands, right?
Yeah.
How many hands are lifted up?
Two.
I watched this on a video.
And also with Moses'
and what I watched is that a father was telling two of his sons that, listen, each time you lift up the hand of another person, you are also lifted. So my appeal to politicians in Cameroon is that be able to lift up the hand of somebody that will be able to help us actualize the Cameroonian
and it
dream.
will be said that you,
and it will be recorded in the annals of this great country that you were able to keep aside greed, selfishness, for the interests of this God so blessed country. And we shall say, thank God for you, who was known to be a people lifter. Let's all of us take the measure to do what is right, because I say all the time, the future of this country can only be bright as long as we live right. Mr. Leo.
Okay, so like I'm still taking your
survey.
I want to do a short survey to see the persons that can easily inspire people to rush to. But many persons say Samuel too. I don't know why. Yes, we are going to be rounding up at this juncture. Your last word to our televiewers, please.
The youths have the inner strength. They just need the zeal. I believe in the youths. I believe in us. We need to stand as one man and say no to corruption, say no to slumber, and cast our votes en masse. When we cast our votes en masse, then we'll be changing our country one step at a time. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Reverend.
Yes, I just want to make an appeal to every Cameroonian. And my appeal is, none of us wrote an application to be born in Cameroon. By God's design, we were sent to this great country to make it better. And as far as we are talking about elections, for those who have not yet had their voters card, I'm appealing to you. Your voters card is the only opportunity that gives you the right as an employer to choose who will be your employee, from the head of state to the public, to the members of parliament, to the mayors and the councillors. So it is you that is the employee. And of course, they will bring to you their CVs, talking about their political manifestos. You will cross-examine them and be able to cast your vote. Please, as elections are coming up, do what is right. As I said earlier, by you refusing to vote, you have already voted. That is to say, you have told those who have voted that you believe in their choice. And by the time you refuse to vote, you lose the right to be able to complain. It is high time we take responsibilities as youths. And as the appeal was made, I've been talking about this. We are going to get engaged. I'm talking about those of us on this platform back home, to endeavor that we mobilize the youths to get registered and participate in the elections and also be voted, so that we can be able to tell our children the story that we took responsibility, so that we can be held accountable. And as I say again, Cameroon can only become what we want it to be. Believe in yourself and take responsibility to do what is right. And God bless you.
Okay, so many persons are telling me the persons they will vote, and this could also change the dynamics. You know, you take a good to a market, or you open a shop somewhere and nobody's buying, without you knowing that the location is bad, maybe the good is not needed, and you keep insisting that you must buy me, you don't buy me, but the people don't want
you stay all day long in the market.
We may have just been wasting our time there.
Yes.
Yeah, not knowing that the people we have as at the helm of the respective political parties are not the desired candidates by the people. How be it because they thought they never had a choice. And I've explained succinctly how you have a choice in this is take that challenge. When that person is presented whom you don't want, if you belong to party A, the youth of that party should rise up, because they constitute the majority, and say, no, we don't want this person. We want some other persons. We want this to be in place. I think it is going to go a long way. There is something one of the viewers said, that politicians do kill. This is what we were deceived by some persons who were so religious in the past, that politics was not meant for believers. Please, that is actually coming from the pit of hell. The scripture tells us that if the righteous are the ones ruling, the people will smile. But if the wrong people are the ones now ruling, the people will cry, because all that which they are going to have will be pain and suffering. So I am happy with the position some churches have started, and I want to take this and make this appeal. Please, to all the churches, if you were to go by the population of Cameroon, interestingly, almost everyone is a member of a church. Therefore,
those in power now in our churches.
And they are in our churches.
And they are those responsible for bribery and corruption.
So
Mr. Leo, I appeal not to stop Mr.
Yes,
Lucas. Let's have a session. What will be the role of the church in the political
yes.
affairs?
So my appeal is, we should go back. Interestingly, I do not see anywhere where Muhammad said you should not belong, for those who believe in Islam. So it means that we are all members, and God accepts that we should be political leaders, and so we should take that position, and let us not relent. The youths who constitutes the majority in our churches, who sit in the church and pray all day long, please, it is time for you to pray and act. Reverend had said it here. When you pray, you have to act. So this is the moment for us to go back and start looking at what actions have we had in the past which actually did not yield any fruit. There was something Mr. Kizito said, that those who will not vote, when they are now counting vote, they will come to the polling stations and their voices are always louder than those who voted. Please, don't be among those who want to go to the polling stations who did not vote. Get registered, get your voter's card, and we are going to change the dynamics together. The coalition of the Cameroon coalition of the civil society is going to come out massively with this team that some of you viewers have suggested. We are going to take it to the churches. The bishop started already calling on everyone to have their voters card. We have to continue with this. All Njangi groups, it is time for us to rise up. If you are a leader in a small Njangi group, someone told me in my company, in my institution, the first thing when you applied to come and work with us is you have to show proof of having registered for elections. And in some institutions today, as they have the right as per what they decide, which is their policy, before you are given a job, you must have registered for elections. Which I think, if we can also bring this to our churches, all the board members of our churches, all the leaders of our churches, they should register for election, because the Bible tells us when the right ones are put in the right place, the people will enjoy. So you can't be indifferent and you say you are a child of God. I don't think God is going to be happy with you, because the first human government in the world was instituted by God. He approved it, though the people asked for it. If he had said no, we wouldn't have had it today. So God is in total support of human government. So we should, it doesn't mean when you are part of human government, you are not going to go to heaven. No. You are a Christian, you are a born again, you are a believer in Muhammad, you are a believer in Allah, and you know already that no matter what happens, Allah did not say that you should remove yourself from the right things, and becoming a member is simply right.
Okay, yeah, your last words.
Yeah, before saying that, I want to, for the first time on this, differ a little with Mr. Nji Lucas. We said somewhere that voting is a civic right, but not a civic obligation. So I don't think making getting people registered with the LECAM as a mandatory process is going to be justice for that. It should be free will. We are just creating a political awareness, because it's a right but not an obligation. You should vote, but you must not vote. With that, I want to say that after all what we have said here today, it boils down to one thing. The time has come. We summarize it at that. The youth should take their responsibility. 2025 is just next door. It is pregnant. If we wish and if we want, we'll change the dynamics. We have listened to what the televiewers have said. We've noted their suggestions, and we wish to use this opportunity to inform them, like Reverend said, yeah, that we shall not relent. As we are leaving this place today, we shall constitute a team to go down to the field and start the sensitization process. Permit us also say that everybody, any youth who is out there and is willing to join the team, is free to join us. The more persons we have, the better and easier the work will be for us. So if you want to join our team, you get to Mr. Leo, he will link you to us, and then we work together. A hand cannot tie a bundle. Together we are stronger, we are better. Let's change the dynamics for a new Cameroon come 2025. Thank you.
Okay, and please, I ask a question. I want that by 9:30 today, I should come up with our results in our forum.
Yes.
All of us, we should be objective, because this is giving us, this is what they call feasibility studies. You are selling Mbonga for 10 years, nobody's buying, because you want to force them. They say no. So I've asked you people, who, if you are watching this program, just send a text as to who you think should be the president, or who will inspire you to register and vote next year. Just send the name to us, and we're going to
do this. It's a research. It's a research.
Yes. So we want to thank you all who took time off to watch the program, and especially the guys. Kizito is coming from Boya. You are coming from Nimbe. He's coming from Boya. It's the only Reverend who is here in Douala with us. Thank you all for watching. Eli and Desmond, we are very grateful for the great job you guys are doing. Thank you. Stay blessed. Bye-bye.